So, hello, Mr. Greg Shane. We're very happy to have you here with us at THEAVios Erasmus Plus project. Your feedback is very valuable for our project because you're really experienced in working with people with visual impairments. Before we start, please tell us a few things about yourself, and please also introduce ArtUp and the very nice and interesting things you are doing there.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm Greg Shane. I'm the artistic director of Arts LA. I co-founded the organization about 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, and we're a nonprofit that serves different people in the community, in the Los Angeles community. We work with at-risk youth, military veterans, and individuals of all different disabilities. And one of our flagship programs is Theater by the Blind. We're the only all-blind theater company that I know of in the country. And it's just been amazing being part of Arts Up LA. I've seen so many transformations over the years from people who were nonverbal that end up learning scripts and shining under the spotlight on stage. We have youth that we work with that English isn't their first language, and they learn scripts and they're proficient in English by the end of the semester. And it's just been really a wonderful experience.
Good, nice. So, Onur, the stage is yours. You can go on with the questions
All
for
right.
we have prepared for Greg.
So I think you already answered the first question
Yes.
as we planned. So I'm proceeding with the second question. You work with individuals who are totally blind or partially blind or partially sighted. Do you collaborate with those who navigate independently, as well as those who have recently lost their vision and require additional support in mobility?
Yeah, so I work with all different people from various disabilities. In terms of vision loss, I've worked with people that actually recently lost their sight to people that have been blind their whole life. Um, it really varies in Theater by the Blind. We have some people who are high partial who learn their lines through large script. We have people that are total that learn their lines through audio recordings, for example, or they have screen readers. And so everybody kind of has their own different way of learning. But I will say that I have worked with all different varies of blindness.
Mhm. So as for our third question, this is the most we are excited about and the most we wonder. What practices have you implemented in your theatrical productions to promote the inclusion of blind people in the performances?
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of inclusion, that's what Theater by the Blind is all about. Like, we take people who have never acted in their life before, and they come in and they might be very nervous to get up on stage. They've never been on stage before, and they find a commonality in the group because everybody in Theater by the Blind is all dealing with some degree of blindness, whether it's total, like I said, or partial. So there is a major aspect of inclusion. And, I always tell everyone in my cast that the show is successful if we become a big family. And that is most important to me when I direct. I find that our shows are very successful and they really touch people's hearts because people can see the closeness and the unity that exists on stage and off stage.
Could you tell us about some of the techniques you use on the stage?
Yeah,
Apart from
absolutely.
tactiles?
So there's various techniques that I use. Our actors never use a cane on stage. They enter the stage and exit the stage independently. We've had actors who rollerblade, they skateboard. We recently did a show that incorporated magic, grand illusions, like David Copperfield-esque illusions, where they would disappear on stage and appear in the audience. And we've done stage combat. We've done Romeo and Juliet, where they have knife fights. So the way that I approach, to answer your question, the way that I approach as a director, working with Theater by the Blind, is I would approach them as if I was working with sighted actors. And basically, it becomes a matter of thinking outside the box. For example, if the actors were to do a fight choreography, they would have to do it to the sounds of, let's say, for example, a beat would happen in the lines, or a sound effect. So they would know on the sound effect of the crash to punch, for example. So they would learn, you basically, or I basically look at their skill set, and audio becomes a major part of how to communicate on stage. So, for example, if an actor is coughing, it might be a sound cue to direct an actor from one side of the stage to the other. Same thing with a laugh, clinking of glasses, any kind of auditory sound cues that I can build into the show that makes sense. I do that, and that is one way they navigate a stage. In fact, I find that sound cues are probably one of the most effective techniques that can be employed. I do a exercise where I have my actors run from one side of the stage to the other in a full sprint, following a sound cue, and they never done anything like that, most of them. And when they do it, they feel totally free. So sound cues play a major role in navigation. The second thing that I do is I mentioned to you yesterday, is that I use textured surfaces, that have kinds of raised bumps on them, and they can be connected in any formation. So every show it's completely different. The formation of the mats, they interlock into each other, and basically, if the actors need to enter the stage and then move to the stage right side, there will be like mats that will indicate that movement. There aren't that many mats down on this floor. It's more for the entrances and exits, or to know where center stage is. If they know where center stage is, they can orient themselves around the space. So the textured mats do play a major role. For example, when we do performances, if it's not at our theater, which is rare, but we just did a show like for 150 people at a raised stage, the mats play a major role in making sure the actors are safe and don't walk off the stage. And what I would do with that textured surfaces, I would create a different feel for their feet than the ones that they would be using when they get around the stage normally. So when they get to that place of off stage, walking off stage, they can feel it's a different texture. So textures can play a major role. One thing I also find very important is to use the set to help with the layout, right? So if the actors need to make it from one side of the stage to the other and there's a couch that leads to a table, they can put their hand on the back of the couch and run their hand all the way down the couch, feel that end of the couch, and they know that they take 2 steps forward, there's going to be a table. They slide their hand down the table and they can feel the back of the chair and they sit down. So basically, like I said, no one's using canes, and you can't really tell if anyone's blind in the shows, because they all move like sighted actors. I hope that answered your question.
Sorry for the noise. The last sentence you said, we did a interview with Turkish blind players, like actors. They also told the same, that the audience doesn't know who sees who doesn't.
Yeah, and in my show, everyone's blind, so it's like, you come and you see the rollerblading and the skateboarding, and I can get into that a little bit too. I think what I try to do is I look at my actors and see what their strengths are. If there's someone in my group that is a skateboarder, I'm going to figure out a way to get that in the show, right? So I have to figure out a way to teach him how to do it in a safe way. And a lot of that is repetitiveness, and a lot of that is memorization, right? So it's a matter of the same thing like with the fight choreography. Sometimes they have to really learn to trust each other, and to learn that when someone's going to punch forward, the other actor, hears that sound and brings their other hand up to block that punch, right? But in the first couple times we practice, it can be very scary for them because, especially when it's total blind actors, which most of my actors are totally blind that I work with. I would say it's about 70% total and 30% partial. Um, so there's a lot of that need for memory and learning, to basically kind of put things into their body, just like they understand their lines, they got to understand the physicality of things.
Greg, thank you. It was more than enough what you
Good.
shared with us. Thank you. And as for our fourth question, it will be from a different aspect. Do you think it is challenging or costly for other producers to adopt these inclusive practices or adjustments? And do they require specialized training? And would you encourage all producers to embrace these methods?
Well, I definitely don't think it's hard. I think it's about thinking outside the box again, right? So there's no reason that blind actors can't be starring in shows, can't be starring on TV, can't be starring in film. I think it's really important for the director to understand what are the advantages that you can provide. Like I said, audio cues. I think creating a textured surface wouldn't be hard if you have a film you're creating and you have $1 million budget. You probably could create a textured surface for a blind person to navigate a space.
True.
I think that the problem is people think it's daunting. How am I going to work with a blind actor? How am I going to do this? And
Exactly.
I think that that's really the issue is that you have to break down that barrier and show people that just because they're blind doesn't mean that they can't be a phenomenal actor.
So also this is one of our goals to overcome, to let other people know or teach them how to work with blind people on stage.
Yeah.
So you also mentioned, yeah. And our last question to you is: do you recommend that individuals who have recently lost their vision participate in such activities, even though they are not professionals? Do you believe this can help? This has a rehabilitative effect. Also, do you think theater contributes to the inclusion of blind people in society in general?
Well, absolutely, 1,000% people who have never acted should do this theater. And I mean, that's the reason I started Theater by the Blind is because I do think it contributes to so many things. I mean, I have so many stories I could go on, and the LA Times has written stories, and we've been on the news multiple times, and all the transformations that have occurred through Theater by the Blind is amazing. I mean, I have people who have never left the house and they come once a week to rehearsal because it's the thing they look the most forward to. So it's a life changing experience being part of Theater by the Blind, and so many people tell me that their life is completely changed because of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's also how we felt. That's why I wanted to ask you to this question. We don't have any questions left, but if you have some more things to say, please feel free to add.
Or maybe you could also show us the theater because
Ah,
when
yes.
we were not recording, so it would be good to see your play.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, right now there's nothing like in terms of the set going on, but I don't know how to flip my camera, but here. So this was our set that actually had cards everywhere, and
Mhm.
this purple thing right here. I don't know if you can see it. Where's the purple? See that
Yeah,
purple
video.
thing? That actually comes down and would make an actor disappear. Ronnie, one of our actors, actually jumped into a box, um, and the box got covered by that. And within 5 seconds, he was in the audience.
All right.
So it was pretty amazing. So yeah,
Cool.
this is the 60-seat theater that's been really an amazing journey. Let me show you the textured surfaces if you want to see those.
Please do, yeah.
So hold on, this might be kind of dark right here. Go backstage. Okay, so in here, grab these guys. Okay. Okay. So here, I'll show you. So this is a smaller version of it.
Mhm.
Can you see that? It has the bumps, the little, and they connect, right? So you see the connections. And then this is the bigger version that they use. And all of these connect into each other in different formations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's basically that's how the magic happens.
Nice.
It's actually a basic equipment, right?
Nice.
Nothing special at all.
It's nothing special, no.
Yeah.
I
But
just came up kind of with the concept of the interlocking and everything. I didn't invent the equipment, you know.